There is a part of southern Punjab, not far from Rahim Yar Khan, where the desert begins to swallow the road. The paved highway slowly narrows, the streetlights disappear, and the air grows unnaturally still. Beyond that point lies the outer edge of the Cholistan Desert, a place known for its brutal heat, endless sand, and long stretches of silence that seem to press against your ears. It is also where an abandoned Haveli stands alone. Locals do not speak about it openly. They do not warn tourists. They do not tell dramatic ghost stories. Instead, they simply avoid the area after sunset. If you ask why, most will shrug and say, "It's not a good place at night." In October of 2019, 3 university students decided that was exactly the kind of place they wanted to explore. Usman Khalid was studying media production. He was calm, analytical, and always behind the camera. Faraz Ahmed was the extrovert of the group, loud, confident, often laughing even when he was nervous. Daniel Raza was quieter, observant, the kind of person who noticed details others missed. They ran a small YouTube channel dedicated to exploring abandoned locations across South Punjab. Old railway stations, closed textile factories, deserted farmhouses. Their videos rarely crossed 10,000 views, but they had a growing audience that enjoyed realistic urban exploration without exaggerated reactions. When someone sent them a message about a Haveli near Cholistan, where a light turns on every night at 3:03 a.m., they assumed it was just another rural legend. But what caught their attention was not the ghost story. It was the detail about the light. There was no electricity in that area, no active power lines, no nearby houses for several kilometers. Yet multiple truck drivers had reported seeing a faint yellow glow from the second-floor window over the past decade. The boys did their basic research. The Haveli had reportedly belonged to a landlord family in the early 1970s. Property records stopped abruptly in 1974. No transfer of ownership, no demolition order. Nothing, just silence. That alone was enough to make good content. They arrived at the outer dirt road leading to the Haveli at 9:08 p.m. on October 23, 2019. The moon was thin and pale. The desert wind, which usually howls at night, was strangely absent. Their headlights illuminated a crumbling structure rising from the sand like a broken tooth, 2 stories tall. Faded walls, black window openings like empty eye sockets. The building did not look dramatic, it looked tired. They parked about 50 meters away and began filming their introduction. Usman adjusted the camera exposure. Faraz spoke into the lens with his usual confident tone, explaining that they would spend the entire night inside to debunk the local rumors. Daniel stood behind them, scanning the dark horizon for reasons he could not explain. The moment they stepped through the broken wooden gate, something changed. The air felt colder, not slightly cooler, colder. Usman checked his phone weather app. Outside temperature 26 degrees C. Inside the courtyard, it felt closer to 18. There was no rational explanation for that. They moved into the main hall. Sand covered the marble floor in thick layers. Old furniture lay collapsed in corners. The ceiling above was partially cracked, exposing wooden beams darkened by age. They began setting up equipment, 2 static cameras and 1 handheld. The plan was simple: capture the interior overnight, review footage, prove that the light was either reflection or trespassers. At 10:07:41 p.m., they noticed the first anomaly: footprints. Bare footprints, fresh, leading from the entrance toward the staircase. The sand inside the Haveli was undisturbed, except for those prints. And they were smaller than any of theirs. Faraz immediately suggested that children from a nearby village must have explored earlier that day. It was the only explanation that made sense, but there were no returning prints. Only a single set, going upstairs, not coming down. They laughed it off, though the laughter felt thinner now. At midnight, They decided to explore the second floor. The staircase creaked under their weight. Each step seemed louder than it should have been, echoing unnaturally through the empty structure. Halfway up, Daniel paused. He later said he felt like someone was standing directly above him, just out of sight. When they reached the landing, they saw 3 doors. One was broken. One was sealed shut with a rusted lock. The third stood slightly open. That was the room where locals claimed the light appeared. They entered slowly. The room was almost empty, a rusted bed frame. Torn curtains hanging like strips of skin from the window. A wooden chair facing the far wall, and despite the thick sand covering the floor, there were no footprints inside. None, except one. A single barefoot print in the center of the room, facing the wall, as if someone had stood there for a long time, watching nothing. Usman zoomed in with the camera. That was when the chair moved. Not dramatically, not violently. It shifted slightly backward, as if nudged. All 3 of them froze. No wind, no visible force. Just a small scraping sound against stone. Faraz stepped forward quickly and grabbed the chair, testing its balance. He pushed it. It moved easily. Probably uneven ground, he said, but the ground was flat. At 12:37 a.m., while reviewing their footage downstairs, they heard the sound again, scraping, from above, longer this time, slow, intentional. Usman immediately checked the upstairs camera feed. Nothing visible, but the audio waveform showed a clear spike. Daniel whispered, almost to himself, "It doesn't want us here." No one responded. At 2:11 a.m., something appeared on the staircase camera. A shape, halfway up, dark, human-sized, standing still. It remained there for exactly 7 seconds. Then the feed glitched. When the image returned, the staircase was empty. They rushed upstairs. No one there. But the sand now showed new footprints, forming in real time, one by one, as if invisible feet were pressing into the dust. Daniel began backing away. Faraz swore under his breath. Usman kept filming. The prints stopped inches away from Daniel's shoes. And then, nothing. Silence. The rest of the night passed without major incident. At 3:03 a.m., they stared at the second-floor window from inside the room, and that was when they saw it. A faint yellow glow. Not from outside, from within the wall. As if light was bleeding through the plaster itself. It lasted 15 seconds, then disappeared. No bulbs, no wiring, nothing. By morning, none of them had slept. They packed their equipment and left, agreeing they had enough footage for a compelling video. But Daniel did not speak much during the drive back. He kept looking at the rearview mirror, as if expecting something to be sitting in the back seat. They should have ended it there. Uploaded the footage. Moved on. But the footage revealed something they had not seen in real time. And that is when everything changed.